across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
There you are. Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan and I'll be your host for 3 thrilling hours of news, views and topical debate all the way to 10 o'clock. Get stuck in, get it off your chest, get on the phone and call me on 0344 499 1000, or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number and I promise to play your message out. It is Friday, January the 16th. Here's what's coming up. A sad day for Britain as accountability dies a tragic death. That conniving, lying disgrace to policing, Craig Guilford, is not sacked, not forced to resign, but outrageously allowed to retire, with a glowing tribute from the radical Labour lefty crime commissioner who refused to sack him. Jeremy Corbyn's favourite official, Simon Foster, not exactly reading the room as he poured praise on the departing West Midlands Chief Constable, who shamed the uniform by conspiring with Birmingham's Muslim extremists to ban Jewish football fans from Aston Villa, and then covered up the real, arguably anti-Semitic reasons. Now that lowlife Guilford has been sent off with full pension and no stain on his official record, how about he gets prosecuted for malfeasance in a public office? How about feeling Craig's collar? See how he likes it. 0344 499 1000. In other news, the latest on the Westminster psychodrama surrounding new Reform recruit Robert Jenrick, the hilarious contention that Kemi Badenoch played a blinder, and the absurd idea that somehow the Tories are stronger now that they've lost the only cabinet minister anyone has heard of. Can the Conservatives survive this earthquake, and what does it mean for reform? They too may have problems ahead. And also tonight, the Magnificent Seven Darlington nurses have won their case against the NHS after a judge ruled that letting a bloke in a dress into the female changing room in a hospital violated their dignity and created a hostile and degrading environment. A victory for common sense, a triumph for at last acknowledging that the Supreme Court made a decision about biological sex, biological gender, and it has to be upheld. It has been here at long last. Why do so many companies and organisations still rail against that? 0344 499 1000. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Friday night together. It being Friday, I think he's remembered to put his microphone on this week, so that's good news already. He is political strategist, my Friday friend, Pete Barnes. You have remembered, Joe?
Just about, yes.
Oh,
yeah, he did it,
hey,
yes.
We're off to a brilliant start.
What a low bar we set.
Yes, indeed, yeah. As long as he puts his microphone on, I'm thrilled.
There we go.
Now, we're going to talk about Craig Guilford. Massive story. This is the police chief who has lied, connived, collaborated, conspired to cover up the real reasons that he decided to ban Jewish football fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv from attending their club's match, their Europa League tie against Aston Villa in Birmingham back in November. You know, he said, I've talked to the Dutch police, and the Maccabi Tel Aviv played Ajax in Amsterdam not so long ago, and they've told me that these fans are absolute hooligans, and you know, you can't let them anywhere near Birmingham. He said, I've also talked to my colleagues, my police colleagues in Israel, who know all about these people, and they've told me, no, don't touch them with a bar. That's why I've done it. It's for the safety of people in Birmingham, because these people are dangerous. I cannot guarantee the Jewish fans' safety, etc., etc. Subsequently, it transpired. The Dutch police said, we told him no such thing, because that is actually not true. The Maccabi Tel Aviv fans didn't riot in Amsterdam. They got set upon. They got jumped upon by waiting mobs of Muslims who declared they were on a Jew hunt. And they fought back. That was the reason for the trouble there. Meanwhile, the Israeli police said, consulted us. We never heard from him. The man is a liar. He lied and connived his way through that, lied over the reasons to ban this club, and then went to Parliament earlier this week to the emergency session of the Home Affairs Committee and lied through his teeth there. So after that, MP said he has to be sacked. Shabana Mahmood became the first Home Secretary for 20 years to declare a lack of confidence in a major police chief. West Midlands is the second biggest force in the land, so no confidence in this guy. He still wouldn't go, clinging on to his job. We heard today he rang around other police chiefs trying to get their support, and they all said, no mate, sling your hook. You're a disgrace. West Streeting said yesterday, I'll be amazed, shocked, he said, if he's still in the job at the end of the day. So West Streeting spent last night shocked because he was still in his job. He was desperately clinging on to his job. Now today, finally, he's gone. However, was he sacked? No. Was he forced to resign? No. He was allowed to retire with full honours and a glowing tribute from the Police and Crime Commissioner, the extremely left-wing Labour radical lawyer Simon Foster, who's a close friend of Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. Make of that what you will. You know what Jez is like. He just loves the Jews, doesn't he? Very big on Israel. So Simon Foster's close with them. Simon Foster gave this guy Guildford, this low-life, lying scumbag, to be honest with you, a glowing tribute. Oh, wonderful man, wonderful man. Meanwhile, Craig Guildford complained about the media circus. No, mate, you brought it upon yourself. Absolute disgrace, a shameful day for British policing, and frankly a shameful day for Britain. We must have accountability. People must take the blame. This guy has been let off the hook. That is a scandal. 0344 499 1000. Let's go straight over now to retired Met Police detective, a man who retired with genuine honours, by the way, Mike Neville, to get his take on this. Mike, this is as low a day as I can remember for British policing. This is the day that shamed British policing. That man Guildford shames the uniform, and to allow him to retire with full honours and a glowing tribute from the Police and Crime Commissioner is an utter disgrace. Do you agree?
Absolutely do agree. And if he was a man of honour, he would have gone straight away. And I think the PCC needs to go as well. He has been the one person who has been defending him. So to get trust and accountability back, not just to the West Midlands Police, but to policing throughout, he has to go as well. It's an utter mess. And some of the comments are from like the retired officers I know is that if this was a police officer, a sergeant, an inspector, a PC, they would never have been allowed to retire. They would have been held on there in the police force, charged with gross misconduct. And then if they tried to retire, then what would have happened is they would have been barred from policing. As it is with Craig Guildford, after all this wickedness and skullduggery and lies he's been involved in, he is not barred from taking another police job. He could still slither his way back in there. Yeah. And it's simply not good enough. It breaks my heart, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. And also, of course, he'll retire. He gets 220 grand a year for his job right now. I'll guarantee you his pension after long service will be over £100,000. This is, he's walking off into the sunset in very fine form. Bear with us, Mike. You can watch this as well yourself. But talking of low moments in policing history, this is the Police and Crime Commissioner for West Midlands, Simon Foster, a radical left-wing member of the Labour Party, very close to the less than friendly to Jewish people MP Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. I think we can work out what's going on here. Let's have a look at Simon Foster. I think just disgustingly pouring praise on this low-life liar who didn't even have the dignity or the integrity to know when he should have gone. Here's Mr. Foster.
Chief Constable Craig Guilford has today retired from West Midlands Police with immediate effect. The Chief Constable's retirement follows the decision of the Birmingham City Council Safety Advisory Group, based on the recommendation of West Midlands Police, to ban away fans from attending the Europa League football match between Aston Villa and Maccabi Tel Aviv on the 6th of November 2025. West Midlands Police have been subjected to understandable, intense and significant oversight and scrutiny as a consequence of events that led to the recommendation it made to the Safety Advisory Group. I have today appointed Deputy Chief Constable Scott Green as the Acting Chief Constable. We have already met to discuss the actions that the force must take to rebuild trust and confidence amongst all the people and communities of the West Midlands.
Well, there you go, Mike. Your thoughts on that? He went on to sort of pour praise on Guilford about what a great servant to the community he'd been, what a marvellous police chief he had been. As you quite rightly say, Foster has to go too, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And just to clarify something, Kevin, that what happened with Guilford, he actually retired in 2024. He had his massive payout in 2024, and what he did there in 2024, he was then reinstated himself. So what a scheme was brought in for like 30-year police officers to come back, so they got their pension and their experience could be used. So Guilford was on a massive pension and the chief constable's pay at the same time. It's no surprise that he wanted to stay. But it's the damage he's done and what is left behind. So there's all this report that's been written by Andy Cook, who's the Chief Inspector of Constabulary, saying how the AI was used wrongly, how false information was put in there, how the Jewish community were not properly consulted, how there was a bias towards everything they did. What will happen now, I fear, is that some police constable or some sergeant, they have been left behind. Guilford flies off and they're the ones subject to discipline. But I think the really bad thing for me is by allowing him to slither out the door, he is not barred from coming back. And you know what these people are like. 2 years' time, keep your head down, he'll be back in some policing role, and that is just not on.
Yeah, and he's put out a statement today. I'll read it out in a second, Mike. But this is Craig Guilford's statement. Amid this statement, you know, it's thanking the Jewish community and how much he's enjoyed working with them. I mean, what planet is this guy on? Look, let's just examine what were the reasons for for that shocking decision he made to ban Jewish football fans from Birmingham. The reason was that he cravenly caved in to the Muslim community, the Muslim extremists of Birmingham. He was terrified of them. They told him that if he let the Jewish fans in, they would attack them with weapons. And instead of arresting them, saying you can't make threats of violence like that, that's against the law, he said, OK, I'll ban them. That's what he collaborated with the Muslim extremists and then conspired with them to cover up the reasons. Let me read Craig Guilford's statement to you and I'll get your thoughts. Here it is. Shall I do it in his accent? I have come to the conclusion that the political and media frenzy around myself and my position has become detrimental to all the great work undertaken by my officers and staff in serving communities across the West Midlands. I'll go back to my normal accent now.
You sounded like me, Kevin.
OK, I'll carry on. The producers asked me to carry on. I have carefully considered my position and concluded that retirement is in the best interest. It's
Sorry.
in the best. We should be taking this story seriously. It's in the best interests of the organisation, myself and my family. It has been the honour of my career serving as the Chief Constable of the West Midlands Police. With the force's dedicated and hard-working workforce, together we have turned this force around. I therefore want to take this opportunity to recognise the outstanding level of service that this force provides to the public, as long as they're not Jewish, that is. I know this will continue thanks to all of the officers, staff and volunteers who work for the West Midlands Police, all who strive to keep the public safe, unless they're Jewish. I would also like to thank all the communities of the West Midlands for your support. I will greatly miss the incredible people I have had the privilege to meet, work and serve across the region. Honestly, if you want... That's that. Honestly, well, Mike, your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on that? Apart from my
well, my first thought is I'm from Bolton, and there's a Wiganer on. We make you an honorary. We make you an honorary Northerner. That's the first thing. A lot of claptrap. And the thing is, though, is it's empty words, because it's too often in this society that we hear words and not actions. And the facts are, he has just proven what two-tier policing is all about, and how the police fall under the spell of vociferous minorities, and the extremist Islam is one of those, really is the vociferous actions here. And if you look at, for example, Aiton Khan, who's the local MP, together with Foster, those two were shoring up the Guildford in his job, and it is wickedness at its highest levels. And how do we regain the trust? How do the police now regain the trust of the Jewish community? This is a very long road, and I don't think it's a road they want to go down.
Yeah, you know, as I said earlier in my monologue, you know, this is about accountability. Allowing him to just waltz off into the sunset with a full pension and no stain on his record means that no one is going to take the blame. He should take the blame for what he did, and he should be punished for it. So my last question to you, Mike, is, as a former officer of the law, is there a case? He's lied to Parliament. That's very serious. He's lied and lied and lied in public office. Is there a case to prosecute this, pursue a prosecution of Craig Guildford for malfeasance in a public office?
I think there is, yes, and the IOPC, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, have already indicated that they want to investigate this. I think it should be investigated, because my real fear, and I always stick up for those frontline officers who are doing their duty, trying to do their best. The real fear here is that a PC and a sergeant will be left carrying the can. They'll be forced with some disciplinary action whilst he's swanned off. It's an absolute disgrace. He is not a man of honour, and he should have done the decent thing, but he never did.
Exactly right. No integrity, no dignity, no honour. What a disgrace. And I guess my last point is, Mike, I just feel sorry for all the decent police officers around the country, because what's happened today has dealt an incredibly damaging blow to the already less level of trust that the public had in the police. I mean, the level of trust in the police now is at rock bottom, and Craig Guildford is to blame for that.
Kevin, can I just make the point? The greatest irony is Craig Guildford was the national lead for integrity, professional standards and ethics. That is what's gone wrong with British. That sums up what's gone wrong with British policing.
Absolutely right, Mike. Thanks so much for coming on. Good to talk to you as always. Mike Neville, there, former Met Police detective. Pete, we've got to go to break in a second. But that's a proper cop.
That's a proper cop.
Craig Guildford, I don't know what the hell he is. He's a disgrace to the uniform. And let me know what you think, folks. You know what this is about. This guy has lied and lied and lied. Covered it up. He talked about, there's only one-tier policing on my watch. No, there is not. It's disgraceful two-tier policing. This was all about sucking up to the Muslim community, doing exactly what they want, and basically making a decision that you could argue was anti-Semitic, an anti-Jew decision. Don't let the Jews in. Perhaps because the Muslims don't like it. That's disgraceful. That is racism. 0344 499 1000. Let me know what you think. Get on the phone. Let's go to break now. We might talk a little bit more about this, but also we've got to talk about Jenrick as well. The fallout from Robert Jenrick defecting to the Reform UK party yesterday. I've been reading all the analysis from the alleged political correspondents and experts in Westminster. I can't believe how wrong they're getting it, in my view, in my not very humble opinion. We'll talk about that after the break. Stay tuned.
I was sat in the tent and he was showing me through photos of his phone, scrolling through. This was barbaric, horrific stuff. Blokes going through walls in vehicles and then jumping out and shooting everyone. You know, his WhatsApp picture was him with a mask on, with a gun like that.
You're in a tent with this guy?
I'm in a tent with this guy, and actually he's just showing me this stuff. I'm just thinking, this is not the kind of bloke you want to be coming to the UK.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk about yesterday's psychodrama surrounding Robert Jenrick. Look, Pete Barnes, of course, political strategist, knows more about this sort of thing than I do, but it didn't go according to plan for Reform.
Absolutely not.
You know, and Kemi Badenoch got wind of the fact Jenrick was going to resign in rather dramatic fashion. Apparently, she got to see the speech he was planning, and you know, she seized the initiative, made that video. I've fired him. He's sacked. He's a traitor, etc., etc. But by the you know. Farage was in Scotland, flew back to London by private jet. Yeah. And by 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, there was Jenrick, you know, in the press conference, and let's say Reform UK retrieved the situation. Now, I cannot believe what I'm reading. Look, there's going to be problems for Reform. You know, in politics, there's always infighting, backbiting. It's the way it is. That's Westminster for you. But you cannot deny that the recruiting or the stealing, if you like, of a major Tory name, you know, the only Tory apart from Kemi Badenoch that I think anyone's ever heard of, was a triumph for Reform. And you cannot also, Pete, deny, in my view, that yesterday was a disaster for the Tories.
It's interesting, actually, because I think
They're not. Don't you dare say the Tories are stronger.
No,
they've
I
lost
don't think
it.
they are. I don't.
Good.
They're definitely
They're
not.
much weaker.
No, not much weaker, because they've got rid of the fox in the hen house. And
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
wanted
but
it-
that's
but
Westminster
I will
tittle
say,
tattle, isn't it?
it's not though, because we've sat here many times saying Jenrick is, he's going to be leading. When Kemi goes, Robert's going to jump in. That narrative has stopped the Conservatives being able to move forward. Now he's gone, they can move on. But I will say the reason people are coming out in favour of Kemi is the speech. That speech, to which Robert Jenrick stabbed everybody in the back, dished out the dirty laundry, the kind of old-school home counties Tory hated that. They hated it.
Well, who cares about them?
Because they make up the base that
of the dying Tories.
That the Reform were hoping would move across with Robert Jenrick. The way Jenrick left is why people are blaming. Saying Kemi did it okay. They're not saying that it was wonderful for her, but they say that she actually was able to grab a little bit because Jenrick,
look. Fair play to Kemi. She's been brilliant in PMQs lately. She has, shall we say, revived, not spectacularly, but she's revived the Tories to some extent. They're on the up, slightly. So, don't get me wrong, and she made the best of a bad day yesterday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's remind ourselves of that speech of which you speak, Pete. This is Robert Jenrick at Reform's press conference yesterday.
These people run Britain as if they hate it. But whilst this government is accelerating our decline, they didn't begin it. We've had 20 to 30 years of this. And why has it happened? Because the two main parties are rotten. They are no longer fit for purpose. They both broke Britain, and neither can fix it. It's a conclusion about the Conservative Party that has pained me to reach, because I've been a member of this party since I was 16 years old. I've served it for most of my adult life.
Well, you've left the Tory party now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good decision. How old were you when you joined?
I was 16.
You see, I was about to say what kind of a 16-year-old weirdo joins the Tory
No, you'd be
party.
surprised. You'd be surprised how many actually young Tories there actually are.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with Jenrick, it was more of a compounding of a problem from the days before with Zahawi. That was the problem.
Look. Here's what our audience. I was reading my switchboards yesterday, jammed, of course. On Monday, and I shared the misgivings. They hated the Zahawi thing.
Yes.
They don't really care that he was a former Chancellor. What they hate about him is he was a former very enthusiastic vaccine minister, and Reform UK supporters don't tend to be that keen on vaccine enforcement. So they hated that, and they thought Zahawi, he's just a guy on the make. He's a guy who's lost his seat, lost his power, lost his importance. This is a way to get back into the limelight. They just thought he was an opportunist, and I have to say, I have my suspicions. I can see that point of view. They hated that. Yesterday, they liked Jenrick. Jenrick. Now, interestingly, you say, I loved his speech because it's so refreshing to actually. This is the sort of thing politicians will tell you in the cloisters and in the pubs and over a drink, but never in public.
And that's the
bit. So maybe he kind of broke the rules by attacking Mel Stride and Priti Patel. I got an intriguing question to ask you. In his original speech, I've been told the text of, the other person that he was going to attack was the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp. In his speech yesterday, Chris Philp disappeared. Any theories as to why that might be? Could it be he could be crossing the bridge as well?
It could be, but everybody keeps saying that it's going to be Suella, but they basically already ruled her out anyway. But the interesting one really is what he said about, I put my career ambitions to one side to join Reform. There were certain lines in his speech that would have been like, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's the pitch that you're making. I couldn't make it to be Tory leader, so I'm joining your lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that just riled up everybody. But I do think it was I think Jenrick has forced this.
Yeah,
more than anything.
I think this. You know, when politicians say, you know, I put country first, what they actually mean to say, I've come to the decision that it is time to put the country aside and concentrate on my personal ambition. That's what they whenever they start talking about it's time to, you know, I've got to put the country first. That, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. Yeah, look. He's an ambitious guy, you know.
He's a Westminster animal.
And all this, he's a snake in the grass, he's a traitor, you know, you should cut the snake off, the head snake off and all that sort of thing. Okay, you know, but it's Westminster, it's politics.
But Reform said they were going to change that. Reform came, their pitch was, we're not like the others. Then you go in and do the same thing as the others. That's when the hypocrisy argument comes out. And then there's a lot of other things that have happened that everyone's like, well, wait a minute, you said you were going to be different and you're doing the exact same thing. Yeah. And I think when you start calling people unpatriotic and you start saying we hate Britain and all that, for not agreeing with them, and then you let those people in through the front door, I think a lot of the base and a lot of Reform voters go, wait a minute, what's going on here? I don't think it's an unreasonable position for
and
many.
I mean, you're right that, you know, the Reform or Farage today has been warned that the Reform Party is in danger of becoming the Slytherin house of politics, of Westminster, you know, full of backbiting, you know, self-obsessed, self-consumed careerists. You know, with no interest in the country, but only interest in themselves. Well, I think, you ditto that for most politicians, but I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, don't you think? I mean, there are positives and negatives, but I do think, you know, Reform had a good day yesterday.
Oh, they definitely did, but it's not as good of a day as it could have been, because I do think Jenrick forced this, in my opinion, because he's got a great political weather vane, that the window was narrowing to jump, and because of the Zahawi situation, and that kind of kicked off all the kind of the talk of too many Tories. I think he thought if you get Kemi to kick him out and force Nigel to take him, I don't think this was actually anything to do with a kind of left lying around. I think Jenrick left it around to force the situation, because I think Nigel was caught out by this a lot more than people are saying, and Richard Tice had no idea what was going on. But I will say, when it comes to the careerist element, it's not Jenrick that's the problem. It's Nadine Dorries, for example, who actually introduced
the Reform UK don't like that.
Yeah, she introduced the Online Harms Act. You know, you've got Jake Berry. He was the one that took away the Tories' membership rights to vote, and they let him through the front door. You've got one after another of the people that did the things where people have gone to Reform, they've welcomed in, and that has a limit. And I think we've hit the limit, if I'm being honest. If anybody jumps now, I think it's clear that it's an opportunity.
Well, Farage has said you've got until May. Any Tories thinking of defecting, you've got until May. He's not going to take any more Tories after that. It depends. In my view, that depends which one. Which Tories we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're talking about a Labour defection next week. I mean, what we're talking about, there's another element with Jenrick. Let's be fair about Jenrick. You know, he's a bit like Danny Kruger. He was one of those Tory MPs that you could see was uncomfortable in the modern Conservative Party's clothes. That it was too con-socialist for him. And so he's gone to a party that's more suited to his worldview. I don't think there's anything about that, any doubt about that. But apparently there was another element that his Newark constituency, he stood a chance he feared he might lose at the next election. So there's another reason. Do you think, now that defection is the name of the game, that we should make it a rule, make it the law, that if an MP decides to switch from the party that his constituents voted for, don't forget, in British politics, technically, we do not vote for candidates, we do not vote for the Prime Minister, we vote for parties. Given that, do you think there's a case to say there should be a law that if an MP decides to cross the House to go to another party, there should be a by-election?
Yes, without a doubt. It should have been introduced decades ago. Of course it should. That representative has made a fundamental change in from what they pitched to the public.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not that they lied. I don't like that, because you've got to allow politicians to change their mind. But then they have to go back to the people and say, do you agree with my decision, and do you still want me? And then the public will decide.
Yeah,
I think that is... I don't understand how that's not a law.
Yeah. It means fewer MPs will defect, so it'll be less fun for us.
Also, my favourite one is everybody in opposition is always in favour of proportional representation. They get a sniff of a majority and it gets dropped like that.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. But it's also a sad state of our politics. But
OK, folks, get on the phone. Let me know what you think. Was that a good day for reform yesterday, or was it a good day for the Tories? I think it was a disastrous day for the Tories. Very bad. I mean, fair play to Kemi. She made the best of a bad job. She retrieved what could have been a catastrophe, but all this, all the traditional Tory papers like the Mail,
it was
saying
every single newspaper.
Daily Mail's going on as if this was the day that the Tories started to really revive, and the Tories are stronger without them. One day the Daily Mail may realise that just perhaps the Tories' days may be numbered. Certainly, Reform UK.
Oh, they're not numbered. They're just going to move to the Reform Party, and that's going to become the Tory Party.
Well, I think it always has been.
Yeah.
It's traditional Tories. Yeah. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about the number of foreign nationals who've been arrested for theft on Britain's trains and public transport. They account for, wait for it, nearly 80% of arrests on British transport are foreign nationals. What's that all about? Stick around.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Shocking new statistics reveal that foreign nationals account for nearly 80% of arrests for theft on Britain's trains and public transport. Data from the Centre for Migration Control shows that 79.3% of theft of passengers' property arrests involved migrants last year, 24 to 25.
Staggering numbers.
I can give you some other statistics of the. This is from 2021 to 2023. Of the total of 16,771 sex offence convictions, 2,500 were by foreign nationals. That's 15% of sex crimes where nationality was specified. They believe if nationality was known in every case, that would probably be as high as 23%. Between 2021 and 2023, foreign nationals were, listen to this, 71% more likely to be convicted of sex crimes than British citizens. And from 2021 to last year, 2024, the number number of sex offence convictions for foreigners increased by 62%. So you look at this, 80%. You know, I mean, you can almost say nearly all arrests for theft on public transport were of foreign nationals, migrants. Look at the sex crimes, absolutely hideously disproportionate. It seems to me, imported a sex crime epidemic and also a crime epidemic.
Yeah. Who knew that if you brought people from a different culture, put them in ours, they don't behave like our culture? Who saw that coming? My God, this is the reality now, is that the government's refusal to tackle this issue competently and effectively is putting everybody at risk in some way. And it has to, the reality is that obviously the Labour Party lacked the backbone to do it. Shabana Mahmood is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. And, I mean, we're done for. We have to get rid of the government to change this issue. There is nothing we can really do now until we get rid of them, because they won't tackle it. We've got so many statistics. The stories are horrific that we've got. And unfortunately, the Labour Party just stick their fingers in their ears and they don't want to listen to it.
It seems that these guys, because most of these migrants, asylum seekers, who many of them break into our country illegally, come across the channel unlawfully in unlawful small boats, and of course once they get here we welcome them with open arms, give them 4-star hotel, free food, 50 quid a week, free dentists, free doctors, free lawyers, free everything else. We don't know anything about them. There's about 100,000, more than 100, just over 100,000 asylum seekers waiting for decisions. 30,000, 35,000 or so in hotels, the others in military bases and houses of multiple occupation all over the country. We never ask anything about these people. Now they come, as you say, they come from cultures where, shall we say, women are not as respected as they are here, where they don't take such a dim view of rape or sexual assault. They get confused when they get arrested for all of this. And I think this story indicates that they come from countries where sort of theft is more of a thing.
Seems to be,
if you see a handbag lying around, nick it.
Yeah, I was on with Andre last night, and we commented that if you're likely to get the train every day, you're a commuter, you're unlikely to commit a crime like this, because you would be seen. It would be an obvious thing that that you would be part of. But if you're not part of our culture, if you're not part of the society, you feel like you've got a bit of free reign, that it doesn't matter what you do, because, like as we say, you just claim human rights and you don't get deported. Nothing happens to you. If anything, things work out better for you. And I think this is the problem: is that the law is now working against the people. It is not working in our favour, and this sense of fairness is only growing further and further apart from the public, with the sense of the public. But there's something you said there, Kev. If we don't know anything about these people, so many of the stories that we find out, they've already got a past history. Like, you know, eventually it comes out that, you know, a person who's been a victim of, who's been a perpetrator of rape, he's already got a long track history of it. You know, yet we bring them in here, and then we don't do anything to protect anybody. And more importantly, we then put them next to a school, and we wonder why everything happens. You know, safety just doesn't exist in the policy of migration at the moment. Yeah.
So, folks, are we, you know, with our policy of just letting these mainly young men between the ages of 16 and 35, you know, from all these foreign countries into the country, have we imported basically a crime wave? Because the disproportionate number of crimes, sexual, violent and other types of crime, the disproportionality involved there is just off the scale. Have we imported a crime wave? Let me know, 03444991000. Just before we go to break, I've got a question for you. There's a big YouGov poll about the royal family. It turns out that 58% of Brits still do approve of a monarchy, which is quite a low number, to be honest with you. It also reveals, as usual, the most popular royals are the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate. The second most popular are the King and Queen Camilla. Meghan's way down on 19%, which is like, you know, rock bottom. But unsurprisingly, at the very bottom of the list, and this is, you know, Randy Andy, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor as he now is, he got 3% approval rating. Now, my question, you know, that's all quite interesting, but I just want to ask you, Pete, Who the hell
Yeah.
are the 3% who said, yeah, he's my favourite royal?
Yeah, I know. Do you know what I actually think it might be? They felt sorry for him. Do you know, I think that's what it might be. Do you know, it's that one streak of British kind of dignity. It's just like, you don't kick a man when he's down. And I that's the only logical explanation, because I don't like to think that these people walk amongst us.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind kicking him when he was down.
I know.
He deserves to be kicked when he was down. Not physically, of course, folks. We do not encourage violence. 3%. But you know what I mean. 3%.
That's going to haunt me now.
Basically said Andrew was their favourite royal.
Oh my Lord.
Who are these people?
Yeah. Identify yourselves.
Yeah. Oh,
now
look,
I want digital ID.
We've got one vote here. This is from a Miss S. Ferguson. Yeah. Right. Let's go to break, and we'll take some calls when we come back. Benedict Spence will join us after the 8 o'clock news a little bit later to get back into the Westminster psychodrama, and also we need to talk to him about Craig Guilford. Do get on the phone. And let me know what you think about Craig Guilford. This Westminster's police chief who's been allowed to retire with dignity without a stain on his record, even though he spent the last sort of 3-4 months lying through his teeth. To anybody who wanted to listen, lying to Parliament. Should he, let me know this, should he be prosecuted? Apparently they are looking into it. You can't go into Parliament in public office and tell deliberate lies. That's against the law. It's called malfeasance in a public office. Also, he's been lying to the public generally. Should we seek to prosecute this guy? Since the authorities didn't sack him, didn't force him to resign, let him retire with honour, should we shame him in the only way left to us as a nation? Let's prosecute him. Let's feel Craig's collar. What do you think? 03444991000. Your calls when we come back. Stick around, folks.
Some breaking news this morning revealed that under the Terrorist Act, 242 people were arrested in the year to June of this year.
That's something you can indulge in as to all the people who aren't going to prison because, well, there's no prison spaces.
So this is a Talk exclusive we've been looking at.
I said, you take these cuffs off me and speak to me like a human being rather than a common criminal.
You're just left wondering, do these people who lead us actually hate Britain? Yeah. Do they not love our country and everything that we've stood for?
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Craig Guilford, the West Midlands Police Chief Constable, has been allowed to retire. Full pension, no stain on his character, no stain on his sordid character. He was earning £220,000 a year for his job, his top cop job. We estimate his full pension, it'll be on a six-figure pension, over £100,000. So this man who's lied and lied and lied, who conspired to ban Jewish people from Birmingham because he was kowtowing to Muslim extremists, who lied to Parliament, lied to the public, lied to everybody. Does he deserve £100,000 a year pension? Should we try and work out a way to make sure he doesn't get that? 03444991000. Possibly prosecute him for malfeasance in a public office. Should we prosecute him? Should we try to find a way to make sure that that liar, that conniving liar who disgraced the police uniform, who shamed this nation, to be honest with you, doesn't get his six-figure pension? Should we do that? 0344 499 1000. Let's go to the phones. Well, we usually like to end the show with Georgina, but let's sort of begin the calls for once with her. Georgina, it falls upon you to set the ball rolling. I've got a note you want to talk about the magnificent Darlington 7 nurses. I think that's well worth discussion, but let me ask you first what you think about Craig Guilford.
Well, I think Craig Guilford, also known as Dunlop, I think he needs...
Yeah. Can you not say Craig Dunlop? I'm trying to get that out of my mind. No one knows why, least of all me, no one knows why I kept calling him Craig Dunlop. We've been looking up Craig Dunlop. There's a journalist in Australia called that. I have no idea why I called him that. I'm just trying to get it out of my mind and you bring it up again. But seriously, what are your thoughts on the aforementioned Mr. Dunlop? No, Craig Guilford, Georgina.
Well, I think, seriously, I think this man should have been sacked dishonourably, dishonourable, because what he has done is absolutely disgraceful. He has given a bad name to the uniform, and it's not on. But not only that, the man who gave the speech this afternoon, because he didn't even say himself, did he, Mr.
Guilford?
Yeah, he didn't even say his speech himself. He got the guy who represented him to do it. I also think that man is just as guilty, and I think that he should lose his
Do you mean Simon Foster, the Police and Crime Commissioner?
Absolutely.
He should go. He should go. The problem we have with him, Georgina, is he is an elected official, so he's a democratic representative of the people, for God's sake. And ridiculously, here's one thing we have to do. Get your take on this as well, Pete. We have to change the law. Shabana Mahmood let her frustrations be known. It is absurd that the Home Secretary, who ultimately is in charge of all our police forces, is not able to sack a police chief. She or Home Secretaries should be allowed should be able to do that, shouldn't they, Georgina?
These people are the law unto themselves, and this is not acceptable. Anti-Semitism within our society nowadays should not even be a thing. And for our police force and the chief of police to be compromised by Islamic extremists, and that's what it is, Kevin. I'm not going to butter this up.
They were extremists. You're absolutely right. You know, one of the people who gave him advice was a preacher from the Green Lane Mosque, a local mosque, who, previous to giving Craig Guilford advice about what he should do about Jewish football fans, had told his flock that husbands are well within their rights to discipline their wife physically, to beat them up. And of course, it is only common sense that no woman, no wife, should be allowed out of the house without her husband's permission. This was the kind of Neanderthal dinosaur thinking that influenced Craig Guilford. I agree with you, Georgina. You know, Craig Guilford might argue, but those decisions he made looked suspiciously like anti-Semitic decisions to me.
They are anti-Semitic, and it's terrifying because it looks to the whole of the population. We don't know the ins and outs, but we are not stupid. We can go by what we see, and it looks to me like it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours. These men, who Mr. Foster and Mr. Guilford,
not Dunlop, Guilford,
whatever his name is, they have been fault, whether it's financially or whether it's with favours, Kevin. It doesn't matter.
I think they're both. Well, I think that, you know, Simon Foster is very close with Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. He is a radical left-wing member of the Labour Party, and you know what the Corbynistas are like about Israel and the Jews. They don't like them very much. So we don't know exactly what Mr. Foster's political outlook is when it comes to Jewish people or Israel. But I think we can probably take an educated guess, don't you think?
I wouldn't suspect that he'd be going to anyone's bar mitzvah anytime.
Yeah, exactly right. He just made Pete Barnes spit out his coffee. Quickly, your view, Pete.
Right, okay, so Shabana Mahmood is technically correct. She can't directly fire somebody. However, I would like to introduce you to the 1996 Police Act. She can force the PCC to fire him. And if that doesn't work, she can get rid of the PCC. She can use the evidence of the inspectorate to get rid of them. Yet again, Shabana Mahmood has the power to do something, and she has sat on it and used the kind of the broad understanding that the Home Secretary doesn't have the power to get around it. This is the central government refusing to do this. And it is absolutely abhorrent. I saw this decision and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How is this possible? I sit here all the time and say, why is nobody fired? Why is he not fired? Why? I am furious at this one.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are. And don't forget, Georgina, that this guy, Simon Foster, Corbynista Foster, he wanted to delay everything until January the 27th. He didn't want to sack him at all, which is a disgrace. So what you've got is a left-wing, Muslim-loving police chief being protected by a left-wing Corbynista official, elected official. This was a stitch-up. This was a massive stitch-up, and they tried to cling on. They tried to cling on to Craig Guilford clinging on, and it's been a disgrace. A very quick word from you, Georgina, because you rang about the Magnificent Seven Darlington nurses. They have won their long legal battle with the Darlington NHS Trust because they complained that a bloke in a dress, some bloke who said he was a woman, was allowed into their changing rooms. He called himself Rose Henderson. A judge has today, Seamus Sweeney is his name, has ruled that allowing a biological male into the safe space of biological females, violated their dignity and created a hostile and degrading environment. This was a crushing blow for the woke County Durham and Darlington Foundation Trust. Good. That was a blow for common sense, wasn't it, Georgina?
Absolutely a blow for common sense, and I'm absolutely delighted for those girls. But those girls should never have been put in that position in the first place. Listen, Kevin, this is very easily sorted out, okay? The law is the law, and they've said that men cannot go into women's spaces. Now, biologically, a man is a man. If you're born with a tallywhacker, you are
fantastic word.
Okay?
A callywhacker.
A tallywhacker. If you're born with a tallywhacker, you are a man. Now, you can have all the cosmetic surgery in the world. Believe me, I know. I've had more cosmetic surgery than you can shake.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yes. And I'm looking fabulous for my age.
Well, we must have a look at we must get a picture of you soon, Georgina. Georgina, I'm with you all the way. I've got to go because I've got to go to the news, but fantastic phone call as ever. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll talk next week. The amazing Georgina in London. Now, we're going to go to break now. It'll be the news in just a minute. We've got lots of calls to get through, lots of messages. We've got some WhatsApp voice notes as well. But we're going to be joined by political commentator Benedict Spence after the news, and we're going to go back to Jenrick. Much still to come. Stay tuned.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. This is Friday night. This is the Political Asylum. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. He's Pete Barnes. And in a little while, we're going to be joined by political commentator Benedict Spence. We need to revisit the psychodrama surrounding Robert Jenrick. And I want to get his take also on the Magnificent Seven Darlington nurses who have struck a blow for common sense, and they've won their long-running battle against the County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust because a judge has ruled that it was entirely wrong to let a bloke in a dress, a man who was pretending to be a woman, into their private space, their safe female space. The ruling is completely damning, and it's about time organisations, particularly, you know, governmental public organisations like the NHS, started paying attention to the Supreme Court's ruling last year on biological sex. If you remember that, it took the most learned minds in the land 5 years to come up with the amazing conclusion that if you're born a man, you know, with, you know, all the gear, you know, meat and two veg, then you are male, you are a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. That's what they decided. And we all went, yeah, we kind of knew that. But anyway, that's official now. That's the law. And yet we've got all these organisations, particularly the NHS, refusing to abide by it, refusing to accept that they can no longer let men, biological men, into women's safe spaces. It changed the dial completely, but yet organisations like the NHS, lots of private companies as well, desperately trying not to obey the ruling, to adhere to the ruling of the Supreme Court. They're not allowed to do that. It's the law of the land. We'll talk about that with Benedict in a little while, but we also need to get his take on the West Midlands Police Chief and Robert Jenrick. But before we go to Benedict, my show, What Just Happened? What Just Happened? That starts in an hour. About an hour, just after the 9 o'clock news. You can watch it live tonight. If you're not watching on TV on YouTube, you can certainly listen to it. It's very radio friendly. Also tomorrow morning, around about 9:30, it goes live on YouTube, and then you can watch it any time you like for the rest of all time. I can't say fairer than that, can I? Here's a little sample of what you can expect.
John Graves says, this is one of the best shows on YouTube. Thanks, Kevin and company.
Well, what can I say? Who am I? Who are we to disagree?
Who are we to disagree?
Ash.
YPure3859 says, Kevin is desperate to see her fail. Bit weird now, and I'm not a Meghan fan. Well, yeah, we are, actually.
Are we desperate to see Meghan fail?
She'll fail, anyway.
I don't...
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Producer saying in my ear, yes, we are. Now, of course, we're not desperate to see Meghan fail. Anyway, that's what just happened. A lot of Meghan discussion, a lot of other stuff. The brilliant Samara Gill and Flash Ashgold there, my accomplices on What Just Happened, 9 o'clock tonight, and as of about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning on YouTube. So enjoy. Right, well, let's go over to Benedict Spence. Are you there, Benedict?
I am here, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm very, very good. Good to have you on board. I'm with Pete Barnes. First of all, because this has just happened over the past couple of hours, your thoughts on the retiring police chief, West Midlands Police Chief, Craig Dunlop, you know, who has been allowed to retire, basically with honour, praise being heaped on him by the Police and Crime Commissioner up there, a guy called Simon Foster, radical left-wing member of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn's best friend, make of that what you will. You know, my switchboard is just jammed. People are furious about this. This is, as I said earlier, well, I'll get your take on all elements of this, but this, to me, you know, is the sad death of accountability. This guy has been able to get away with lying to Parliament. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm delighted that somebody in this country is going to be able to retire on a full pension. You know, it's never the people who actually deserve it, but somebody gets to. So, you know, there's some hope for, I guess, for the rest of it. But I mean, you know, joking aside, it's just one of those where, of course, you do just have to sigh and shrug your shoulders and go, but of course, the system is going to close ranks around this individual, because actually if there is any form of accountability, we might end up having to look into other people and their roles that they played in this whole sad state of events, and maybe we might have to look at other things that West Midlands police have been up to, or that other police forces have been up to. This is ultimately how the British state works. There is no desire for accountability. There is no desire for punishment of those who have actually done anything wrong. The system looks after its own. Whistleblowers are punished. Journalists are shut out of the situation. Victims are always the one who are left without justice. And at the very best, all you can hope for is a decade or two down the line, we'll have an inquiry, and then lessons will be learnt. And the lessons will be, we shouldn't have got caught. We need to cover that.
Exactly right. Just to recap the story, I think I've got this thing, Benedict. I've got a problem with Craig Guilford for reasons that I don't know, that no one understands. I keep calling him Craig Dunlop. No one knows who Craig. No one knows who Craig Dunlop is.
Do you know what it's like?
So we've got a question now. If anybody knows who Craig Dunlop is, 03444991000. Ian Collins had the same problem. He kept calling him Craig Ferguson earlier today.
It's like Rosebud.
I mean, at least Craig Ferguson exists.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who Craig Dunlop is. By the way, if anyone out there is called Craig Dunlop, please give us a call so that at least, you know, by accident I can get that name right. But to be serious, Benedict, this guy, just to recap, you know, for the last 3 months since outrageously banning Jewish football fans from Birmingham from the Aston Villa Maccabi Tel Aviv game, lying about the reasons, has just lied and lied and lied. He lied to the Home Affairs Committee earlier this week. He has concocted, you know, a tissue of fibs, and basically, as Shabana, Kemi Badenoch said earlier this week, he conspired and collaborated with the Muslim community, and when I say Muslim community, we're talking about Muslim extremists in Birmingham, to lie about why he was banning the Jewish fans, which was arguably for anti-Semitic reasons, and then to conspire to cover up the whole thing. So he has lied and lied and lied to Parliament. Do you think there's a case for prosecuting him for malfeasance in a public office?
I mean, I'd be staggered if people aren't looking into it. And based on what we've seen, I think he's going to be on some pretty dodgy ground. Obviously, we wait to see, you know, smarter legal minds than mine will be able to tell you whether or not. But me, looking on the outside, I certainly think he is going to be in a world of trouble in the coming weeks and months, I would have thought. I don't think that we've heard the end of this. I don't think he is going to be able to just retire and ride off into the sunset as much as he would like to, and as much as I say, many of his friends in the system are probably going to try and help that along. Lying to Parliament, misleading Parliament, getting things wrong in front of Parliament, doesn't really matter how you dress it up. It used to be rather a serious offence in this country. I believe it still is. I guess we'll find out. But, you know, what kind of precedent does that set, actually, where, you know, this has been allowed to happen? And there are people apparently singing his praises.
Yeah, that's the other question I was going to ask you. We need to move on to the other topics I want to discuss with you in just a second, mainly Robert Jenrick. I want to ask you, by the way, after the break, about the Magnificent Seven Darlington nurses, which is quite a good story, a very big story today as well. But what I think the saga of Craig Guilford, see, I got the name right, the saga of Craig Guilford has revealed is that it is a damn fine decision to phase out police and crime commissioners. Now, these people are elected, and they are elected under a political flag. The West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner is a guy called Simon Foster, who's a lifelong radical left-wing member of the Labour Party, very close to Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. And, you know, I don't know much about Mr. Foster, but he heaped praise all over Craig Guilford today. Marvellous, what a sad loss, what a great service to the servant to the community. And you can only conclude that a little bit like that Ayub Khan, the local MP there, who today said this is outrageous, it's been a witch hunt, he's been lost his job for doing his duty, another mad, manic Muslim, extremist Muslim, frankly. You can only conclude that Mr. Foster had similar opinions to Mr. Khan and indeed Corbyn and Sultana, and therefore kind of approved of the idea of banning Jewish fans and going with the Muslim vote, if you see what I mean. Therefore, good idea to stop these politically motivated people being in charge of the police chiefs and to take away their right to fire or hire them.
Oh, absolutely. I thought that this was always a nonsense. It would have been a nonsense to use, even if we weren't trying to sort of experiment with the idea of self-contained communities in various parts of the country that have their own identity and their own agendas that are separate from the rest of the populations. If nothing else, it was an absolute gift to organised crime, the idea that you can have sort of people who can be elected. This has never worked out particularly well in countries where organised crime is a big deal, and I'm afraid to say it increasingly is in this country. That's a conversation for another time. But what I would say, just to add to what you said, the big takeaway from all of this is not simply, of course, that the police lied or that a senior police officer lied. It's the reason why they lied. Actually, the underlying reason why is because they were admitting, look, we have to do this because we cannot actually enforce the law. Effectively, they are admitting that law and order has broken down in Birmingham and that they have to placate a certain community, otherwise violence will break out. That's a national scandal that has to be addressed immediately.
And I'm just going to recall the lowest moment in this saga, which was at the Home Affairs Committee the other day, when he suddenly introduced this new element. Because they're saying, oh, well, you said you got advice from the Dutch police. They say they didn't give you that advice. You said you conspired or you talked to the Israeli police. They said you didn't talk to them. And he said, oh, well, you see, the thing is, what the local Muslim community told me that they would take up weapons and there could be a war on the streets, or that's why. And the MPs, you could hear them go, what? Yeah. What? And then one of them said, I think his name is Phillipson, Dr. Phillipson, said, he said, you're telling us this now? And you've never mentioned this before? Why have you never mentioned this before? Guess what he said? He went, well, no one asked me. I mean, this guy. So we'll drop the Craig Guilford issue there, because I do need to ask you to get your take on the Robert Jenrick story, the psychodrama yesterday. Look, Kemi made the best of a bad day. She certainly seized the initiative at the beginning, having discovered Robert Jenrick's resignation speech, which he was preparing to inflict with maximum damage on the Tories. So she won that bit. By the afternoon, there's the press conference, and I think Reform began to retrieve the situation. And I think in the end, for me, let me tell me what you think. For me, I think yesterday, in the end, despite Kemi doing her very best, not doing it was a disastrous day for the Tories. And I think, there are negatives to this, but I think it was a good day for Reform. Your thoughts, Benedict?
I actually think it was a win-win situation all round. I think, actually, now, let's just start with why I think, because I think you've set out quite clearly why it's a win for Reform, and I think we're all probably in agreement. As to why I think it might actually be a positive for the Tories, look, I don't think that the Tories are going to be electable anytime soon. They're not going to win the next general election. But now, Kemi Badenoch doesn't have a clear challenger, a clear rival within the party. So all the talk about having another leadership contest next year, I think that goes out of the window because that isn't there. That, bizarrely, gives the Tories a semblance of stability. It also means that they don't have the prospect of a plan B to fall back on if they mess it up. They're going to have to be a lot more accountable going forward. They're going to have to work hard. There can't be any sort of, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It'll fall back into our laps at some point. We'll just strip our way back into government like we always do because we'll find somebody like Jenrick and he can take over if Kemi's rubbish. I think the writing is on the wall now for the party. It's time to put up or shut up. Jenrick has now gone to Reform. He's very good at talking, very good communicator.
Yes,
he's on
he
the
is,
ball in terms of policy, and he gives Farage a succession plan, which for me was always the big asterisk over reform. What happens when Farage goes? Well, now you've got your answer. You have somebody who can take over in 5-10 years' time, whatever it is. So now ultimately you've got two parties with direction. Kemi hasn't got a challenger. Farage has his backup plan.
Okay, that's an interesting point, Benedict. So, look, this situation leaves, as you quite rightly said, without a shadow of a doubt, this leaves Kemi Badenoch much stronger. But does it leave the Tories stronger? Doesn't it leave them weaker? I mean, they've lost the only cabinet minister that anybody had heard of. You know, they're a party now of non-entities. The only person that, you know, if you went round the public now and said, can you name the shadow cabinet? I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, in my job, I should be able to name them. I can't. I mean, there's a few of them. So they've got a party of anonymous non-entities now. It's left her stronger, but has it left the party weaker?
Well, look, on the bright side, if nobody can name any members of the shadow cabinet, it means that they aren't people that the public remember as being at fault for what happened over the last however many years.
Yeah.
So they can start with a blank slate, so to speak. We also have to remember that, you know, Reform are picking up some good Tories, you know, obviously generic, but people like Danny Kruger as well. But for every good person that goes, about 10 pretty rubbish people end up defecting to Reform as well. So, you know, it's an interesting sort of package deal that you get. But ultimately, this isn't me sitting here saying, happy days are here again for the Conservatives. They are in a dreadful state. They are starting from a very low bar. Kemi Badenoch had a pretty poor start as leader. She's slowly growing into the role, I think, more and more impressively.
I agree. She's been good lately. Yeah,
but that is not enough. One leader, very good leader, is not enough. Her job is going to be to rebuild that party from the ground up. And I do think maybe the little bit of the spring clean of losing, you know, quite so many people, a lot of whom are going to Reform, that doesn't necessarily look good. But if you're talking longer term, 5-10 years, she might be able to get them into a position where they are competent again. And also maybe at the next general election, where there is going to be tactical voting, because there is going to be tactical voting. Lots of people on the left are going to pick whoever is the left-wing candidate most likely to beat a Reform candidate. She might be able to do a couple of deals. I know both sides are saying right now they're not going to. And I know that neither of them want to, but it might actually put her in a stronger stead because a lot more sort of moderate Conservatives who would never vote for Farage might feel more inclined to vote for Kemi Badenoch than Conservative if they thought Jenrick was waiting in the wings.
Very, very quickly, because I've got to go to a break and I've got to take a call from someone, but what about Reform? I mean, technically, now that they've got 6 MPs, that means they get a bit of that cash pot, don't they? Does it not?
No, because it's only whether you come into the Parliament. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, it does mean, I think, that Nigel Farage can now attend Remembrance Sunday.
Yes, it does, yes.
There you go. So he can lay a wreath.
There's a little bit of legitimising.
But those are just shallow reasons to discuss this. I mean, you know, they've got some good names now. I mean, I'm a big admirer of Danny Kruger, and with reservations, I'm quite an admirer of Jenrick. Big name, massive, a massive name to defect. But, you know, is there a chance that they'll start fighting like rats in a sack?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think actually the key for Reform this year is to keep polling at around 25 to 30% and keep it 6 or more MPs. If they do that, then we can happily say, okay, they've hit the sort of the hard ceiling of polling and also number of MPs, and they're able to tread water. After that, I think it's upwards from there. But, you know, that'll be the test. A lot of big names, a lot of egos. Can they all get along? They haven't in the past.
Yeah, who's going to be the Chancellor, Jenrick or Tice? There may be trouble ahead. Listen, stick around, Benedict, and we're going to talk about the nurses when we come back. I just have to take a call from Warren in Cheltenham, who wants to talk about Craig Dunlop. Hello. Hello, Warren. Who is Craig Dunlop?
Hi.
Yeah, hello, mate.
Right. So you keep calling him Craig Dunlop, yeah?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know who Craig Dunlop is. Go on.
Right. From the police, 1972 to 1977.
Yeah.
To Robert Mark, Commissioner of the Met Police.
Yeah.
Do you remember he was Commissioner? Then when he retired, he was advertising Goodyear tyres.
What, Robert Mark? Oh, I see the connection. So Robert Mark, former chief constable of the Met Police, when he retired, I do remember that. He used to, and he advertised Dunlop tyres. That could be my trail of thought, couldn't it?
Goodyear tyres.
Goodyear tyres. Well, this isn't working. He's like, well, I'm going to start calling him Craig Goodyear in a minute, yeah?
Well, no, now you've got Dunlop, Craig Dunlop.
Yeah.
You've got Dunlop tyres as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I know. So.
Do you know what this feels like?
That must be it.
Yeah.
In my mind, I didn't realise. I'm thinking of Robert Mark advertising Goodyear tyres, and I got the tyres wrong. Yeah.
And now you've got this other idiot who could be advertising Dunlop tyres.
Yeah, Dunlop. Yeah. You're right. Well, Warren, you may have come up with the reason for the mystery of why I keep calling Craig Guilford Craig Dunlop.
Exactly. I was laughing my head off.
That's just ridiculous, isn't it? See, so the thing, when I started doing it, you know, when this story began, so all week I've been doing it. So after the first day, I went home and I thought, right, I must have known someone called Craig Dunlop. There must be a footballer called Craig Dunlop or something like that. I mean, obviously, there's a few Craig Dunlops around, but there's no connection, you know. There's no footballers. There's nobody famous ever. So, I mean, you know, this is a mystery. God knows why I do it. I just did it again, by the way. I just did it at the beginning of this half hour. So, well, Warren, good theory. Good theory. It could be that. It could be that. Thanks very much for an excellent call. Have a good weekend, mate. Thanks. Warren in Cheltenham.
I was just going to say, it feels like Citizen Kane, you know, with Rosebud, where he was shouting, it was like his last word, and everyone's like, what was Rosebud? This is it's like Dunlop for you.
See, I think I'm a bit of an unconventional sort of broadcaster. Most broadcasters don't make a thing of the mistakes they make. I'm having a phone-in about why I keep calling
That's so
Craig Guilford Craig. So why am I calling Craig Guilford Craig Dunlop? 0344 499 1000. Get on the phone. It's good to talk on Talk. We'll be back in a minute.
I was sat in the tent.
Some breaking news this morning revealed that under the Terrorist Act, 242 people were arrested in the year to June of this year.
That's something you can indulge in as to all the people who aren't going to prison because, well, there's no prison spaces.
So this is a Talk exclusive we've been looking at.
I said, you take these cuffs off me and speak to me like a human being rather than a common criminal.
You're just left wondering, do these people who lead us actually hate Britain? Do they not love our country and everything that we've stood for?
I was sat in the tent and he was showing me through photos of his phone, scrolling through. This was barbaric, horrific stuff. Blokes going through walls in vehicles and then jumping out and shooting everyone. You know, his WhatsApp picture was him with a mask on, with a gun like that.
You're in a tent with this guy.
I'm in a tent with this guy, and actually he's just showing me this stuff. I'm just thinking, this is not the kind of bloke you want to be coming to the UK.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We're taking some of your calls in a little while. 03444991000. We're still with political commentator Benedict Spence. Let's move on, Benedict, because I think this was the other big story of the day, somewhat overshadowed by the other psychodramas. But the Magnificent Seven Darlington nurses have struck a blow for common sense, and they've sensationally won their long battle against the County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust. Their case was, you know, you let a bloke in a dress into our private female safe space changing rooms. The NHS said, oh, well, you know, that's our policy and all this, despite the ruling of the Supreme Court on biological sex last year. NHS stuck to their guns. The ladies, 7 nurses, I've had several of them on my show. They're great girls, they really are, very brave girls, and they've won. Judge Seamus Sweeney said, he's an employment judge, he said that allowing a biological male into their safe space, and I quote, violated the dignity of the female nurses and had the effect of creating for them a hostile and degrading environment. So a fantastic victory for them, a victory for, at long last, the NHS being told, when the Supreme Court made that ruling, it's the law. It means something. You cannot, because of your woke beliefs, ignore that. So I hope the NHS take that on board, and I hope more organisations and more companies who continue to just defy the Supreme Court ruling will take this on board, and perhaps we can get to a situation where women are protected from this woke madness. Your thoughts?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we're constantly told by these sorts of people that, you know, that the law is incredibly important, that we all have to take it very seriously. Well, presumably that means also when the law goes against you. And for a lot of these people, as you say, the sort of the wokerati, they will be furious about this. They'll be livid. But it's very clear. The Supreme Court has been very clear. For the first time ever, we're sort of sat here going, oh, well, it's actually done something positive for once. Thanks very much, Tony Blair. Shame about everything else, but nevertheless, that's one positive. Ultimately, the fact of the matter is, we're still having this conversation, which the average man in the street thinks is insane.
Yes.
Genuinely thinks is insane. And the fact that we've even had to go to the Supreme Court to say, look here, chaps, can you give us an official ruling? Because otherwise these nutters are going to keep on trying and pushing their luck. We've had to go that far. Finally, it's happened. And as you say, these people have been, you know, these nurses, they've been very brave. They've worked very hard. They've pushed very hard. They've fought. So many other cases, though, so many other incidents like this are currently ongoing. So many women are having to push back against all of this nonsense. And I really do think that as positive as this is, that it's gone their way, the very fact that we all sort of, well, not all of us, obviously, not people like you and me, and everybody else that talk, but so many people sat on their hands, didn't say anything, and just went, oh, well, don't want to be awkward, can't upset anybody, can't offend anybody. And because of that, we've allowed utter nutters to allow themselves to insert themselves into places like female-only spaces and write policy allowing them that kind of access. It's nuts.
And this guy in a dress who identified as a woman calls himself Rose Henderson. I mean, as I say, I've interviewed several of these nurses, great girls. They're very brave because they were vilified, they were turned into pariahs by their employers, you know, for taking this stance. They said that this Rose Henderson bloke, I don't know what his real name is, but he would sort of, if I can put it this way, sort of rub their noses on it. He would walk in with boxer shorts on, with all holes in them so they could see his crown jewels. And one of them was telling me that she was sitting there and watching this and you know, just feeling really endangered, to be honest with you, incredibly uncomfortable. And Rose Henderson said, aren't you going to get undressed? And my point about that is, that's disgraceful, obviously. The NHS supported Rose Henderson and fought these nurses. This is madness. This is all wrong.
Oh, it is. And the problem is, again, because too many people in this country sort of seem to pride being polite above all else, nobody's actually prepared to call it out and call it what it is and call a spade a spade. Just because there are a small number of people who are mentally unsure, disturbed, have a difficult time during puberty, get very confused about their identity, does not mean that you can't call out people acting like perverts when they are behaving like perverts. And that is what so many of these cases are. They're not sort of timid, shy little people, unsure of their place in the world, just wanting a little bit of safety. On so many occasions, it is a strapping bloke, still a bloke, still intact, dressed as a woman, but as some awful pastiche of a woman, as some sort of caricature, who is doing it because he can. It's overtly male behavior is the thing.
That's exactly right.
It's dominant. And this is the thing. If we were sensible, we'd all be sitting there going, that's just a bloke behaving like a particularly nasty kind of bloke. If he were really a woman, he would understand why those women were upset, were threatened, and he wouldn't behave like that. But of course, that's not what this is about. It's about this person getting their kicks.
Exactly right, Benedict. Listen, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Really good to have you on board, and have a great weekend. Benedict Spence there, political commentator. He's right, isn't he?
I don't agree with a single word. I don't disagree with a single word Benedict has said.
A single word he said.
No, in the last 32 minutes, I've just been sat here like, yeah, that's right. And he's bang on that this, particularly on the issue of the nurses, the fact that this guy rubbed their noses in it, I think that was perverse. But also, I have to say, this is a clarification in law. It's not a new law. This is a kind of... this was a kind of not a redefinition, but a kind of concrete definition of it.
Yeah.
And yet it took 5 years to do it. And we have a public institution choosing not to follow it. I find that terrifying.
They're not the only one, many private companies are the same.
Yeah, I
think the BBC's had its serious problems with all of this.
I mean, I just don't understand how everybody thinks it's okay for a public institution to just ignore the law. And they keep saying it's about the guidance. It's about the guidance. Nonsense. It's just nonsense.
I think I'm right in saying that women, or for that matter, men, I think women have the right now to demand that there have to be female-only lavatories available, loos available, because all these gender-neutral loos, which so many organisations and companies installed, no choice if you want female. Well, I believe that under the law, they have the right to demand that there are female-only lavatories available. And for that matter, male-only.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And it's an interesting one, because this is where they keep saying that, oh, well, we need the clarification for the business and rates and all the kind of the costs to business. Now, Bridget Phillipson, who's the women's minister, she said, well, I'm delaying the guidance for that particular reason. And I'm like, no, you're not. You struggled to define what a woman was, so you don't like the ruling, so you're just going to ignore it. Everybody who is against that ruling is anti-science. That's what they are.
Yeah, absolutely right. And when trans men, women who pretend to be men, they want to go into men's loos, and those of us who have to use gents loos, it's like, you want to come into them?
I know.
I mean, men's loos are an absolute disgrace. Who are the people, by the way?
Here we go.
Right. Let's talk. Let's talk about bogs. Right. So there's a particular kind of guy. They go in the loo and then they take the bog roll, the toilet roll, and they unravel the whole thing and just put it into the po. What,
I don't know.
What's that about?
There needs to be some proper scientific studies about gents' toilets and the behaviour in there.
Why do
it made lots of things
anybody got any ideas? Why do men, some men, unravel the entire toilet roll and then shove it in the toilet? Honestly, ladies, if you haven't been into men's loos, why would you? It's a serious thing. It happens all the time. What goes through the minds of men who do that? 03444991000.
This is a weird show.
Yeah, this is a really weird show, is it? No, seriously. I'm just pointing that out. You don't want to go into men's loos. Right. Should we go to break and then take some calls? Yes, let's do that. We'll be back in a minute and take some phone calls.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. If you go to YouTube right now and forevermore, you can watch Plank of the Week, hosted by me. It's on Blockbuster Edition this week. Here's a clip from the current episode of Plank of the Week.
For feeding the pigeons. The lady's getting arrested for feeding the pigeons, my lady.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. Well, I mean, what a snapshot of modern policing, modern Britain. That is just off the scale insane, isn't it? Isn't
You know what infuriates me about this clip is that the police have the power of discretion. So is there some regulation somewhere that says you can't feed pigeons in this park? Probably. But they still have the discretion and the confidence to say, we're going to apply some common sense here to a woman who's obviously got, you know, the right intentions and is not causing any sort of harm.
Doing the nice thing.
Doing the nice thing, and yet they still don't use their discretion there when they do use their discretion to not prosecute or even investigate shoplifting or any other such proper crimes that go on in modern London. Like, it is the warped priorities, which I think is driven out of cowardice. It's easy to put that chick in handcuffs. It's much harder to actually solve proper crimes.
Look at that lady. How old is that lady? Around about 60, I would say, maybe slightly younger. She's a middle-aged lady. Why are there 12 coppers there? What are they, cowards? Yeah, that lady, she's feeding the pigeons. That's the Metropolitan Police. 12 Metropolitan coppers arrested her because of putting bread onto the sidewalk, onto the pavement. I mean, modern policing. Modern policing. Craig Guilford and that. I mean, do me a break. Give me a break. I mean, no wonder trust is plummeting in the police, right? By the way, I keep watching that clip and I think I did it. She's about 60, not very fair. She's nowhere near 60. She's quite young. So if you're watching, madam, you did a nice thing. It's a disgrace you were arrested and fined £100, and I'm very sorry for saying you're 60 because you're clearly not. You're 70. No, she looks about 30 or something like that. Seriously. A quick. We've got a voice note. I think is it from Wayne in Birmingham. Let's have a listen.
This is Wayne from Erdington in Birmingham, mate. So the police have finally come to the senses. Oh no, they haven't. He's resigned with a full gold-plated pension, and the speech from his bosses typifies where we are in society with the police and all the other societies, mate. We're up against it. Keep up the good work, Kevin, baby. You're the top bloke.
Cheers, Wayne. Interesting to get Wayne's view because, of course, he's from Birmingham where it's all going on. That's West Midlands Police territory. I'll read a couple of WhatsApp messages we've had. John from Liverpool. Hi, Kev. I think the whole West Midlands Police need to be investigated to see how deep this problem goes with this two-tier policing and see who's pushing this situation that one community is more important than the rest of us. And someone needs to check Craig Guilford and everyone involved, their bank accounts for payments from that mosque. Well, no one is suggesting that Mr. Dunlop or anyone has taken part. I don't think it's anything to do with money. I think it's to do with a craven desire to kowtow to Muslim extremists because he's scared of them. And also it's just this way, the way it seems to go these days, we seem to veer towards anti-Semitism. This was the banning of Jews from Birmingham. That's anti-Semitic. And I don't think there's any money involved, but you know, certainly I think Craig Guilford should be prosecuted for malfeasance in a public office. Andy from Telford said the reason that the police chief from Birmingham was so bad is because he's been promoted fast track because he's got a university degree and no experience really as a police officer. What a joke this has become. Well, you know, if that guy Craig Guilford has got a university degree, I mean, the standard of degrees are really going down because it struck me that he's the kind of guy that probably has a lot of trouble working out whether to put his left foot in front of his right, you know. He did not strike me as a genius, to say the least. Well, nobody asked me.
That line.
Yeah,
that
nobody
line.
asked me.
Nobody asked me.
That was it. When he said, when they said, you've been lying, he said, if it came across like that,
yeah,
I'm truly sorry. It came across like you were lying. Yeah, it came across, Mr. Guildford, that you were lying because of this. Let's see now. Because you were lying. There you go. Let's talk to Philippa in Poole, in Dorset. Philippa, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, Kevin. It's lovely to talk to you this evening. I'm sorry I haven't been phoning in for so long. Happy New Year to both you
and to you. And to you. Well, it's good to have you back, Philippa. What would you like to say?
Oh, gosh. Regarding the lady feeding the pigeons, did you know that in the 1930s, FDR used to actually pay people to feed the pigeons, created jobs that way?
There you go, there you go. As I said on the show, actually, where would Mary Poppins be without that? Feed the birds, the birds, tuppence a bag.
She's doing 10 years at Wandsworth.
How much do you think bird seeds are now? It's more than tuppence a bag, I'll bet you. But seriously, interesting point, Philippa. What else would you like to say?
Yeah, I was actually ringing up about Robert Jenrick.
Yes.
At first, when we had all these defectors coming over from the Conservative Party into Reform, I didn't particularly like it, but I realised what Nigel was doing. He is bringing people into the party who are experienced politicians.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's trying. There are difficulties here. He's treading a fine line, but I think you're right. I think Pete Barnes, who's with me, would agree as well. What he's trying to do, what he's keen to do, is to project the image of a party that is fit to govern. And if you take these big beasts like Robert Jenrick, Zahawi, Danny Kruger, it makes Reform seem more legitimate as opposed to a party of newbies who haven't got much experience. Do you agree with that, Philippa?
I certainly do agree with that, and I think that what will happen is when Reform get into power, and these people have been in positions for maybe 6 months or whatever, he will then reshuffle everything. And things will really, really change. I don't think things will stay the same with the same people for very long.
I guess, yeah. But it will be interesting to see if they get the kind of, I wouldn't say landslide, but if they get the hundreds of MPs that people are predicting they might, it'll be a question of who those MPs are, what their qualities are. So a future potential Reform cabinet, we have no idea about now, but you may, obviously, with Danny Kruger, with now Robert Jenrick, maybe Zahawi, you can begin to put together a picture. I mean, even somebody like Dame Andrea Jenkins, of course, who's Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. She's got parliamentary experience as well. So, yeah, that's what I think he's trying to do, to make Reform look like a legitimate, plausible party of government.
Yeah, if you look at most of the focus group information, it all says that we like Reform, but one man can't do it. So it's about the team. It's about getting the right people in the right places. However, my thing is, you can't bring in the people that did the things that you all hate. If you know what I mean, like you can't bring in the vaccines minister if you've literally announced that you're going to launch an investigation into COVID deaths. I'll tell you, you can't do that. The hypocrisy will kill you.
I think maybe Nigel was slightly blind to. I think the average Reform UK supporter did not like compulsory vaccines, did not like the mandatory nature of that medication, and the fact that Zahawi was vaccine minister in charge of forcing us all to be jabbed isn't going down well with Reform. Does it go down well with you, Philippa?
I didn't like his appointment, I've got to admit.
No, you're not alone. Many people didn't. What about Jenrick? Do you approve of that?
I think, like you said, he's a very, very good speaker. He comes across very, very well. And I think if people can forgive him for being a previous Tory party member and being in the cabinet, then I think he'll do well in Reform, because I think he will toe the line once he's given a position. I would love to see Jacob Rees-Mogg in reform, I would love to see Georgina from London as an
Georgina
MP.
from London,
I'll run a
absolutely.
campaign.
Let me ask you this, Philippa. Do you think Nigel Farage might think about appointing Craig Dunlop to his cabinet? Craig Dunlop. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? No, you know that guy Craig Guilford? I keep getting his name wrong. I keep calling him Craig Dunlop, and no one knows why, least of all me. Listen, Philippa, good to talk to you. Great to have you back on the show. I've got to go to break now, though, but keep in touch. Call me again soon. Philippa in Poole in Dorset. Let's go to break and more calls when we come back.
Every Monday to Wednesday, midnight until 1, it is Talkback.
Such a shortage of housing. You've got landlords, right, have taken that on board, and it's an absolute disgrace.
Your stories, your opinions, it is your chance to have your say. So they're literally just being rented out as hotels, basically.
Yeah, rent a load of hotels.
Well, that has really shone a light for me.
I was sat in the tent and he was showing me through photos of his phone, scrolling through. This was barbaric, horrific stuff. Blokes going through walls in vehicles and then jumping out and shooting everyone. His WhatsApp picture was him with a mask on, with a gun like that.
You're in a tent with this guy?
I'm in a tent with this guy, and actually he's just showing me this stuff. I'm just thinking, this is not the kind of bloke you want to be coming to the UK.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Lots of great calls and not very much time left, so let's try and whip through as many as we can. So, Kevin in Dorset, welcome to the show. Can we keep this quite quick? I love talking to you, but I want to get to some other calls. You want to talk about Jenrick? You were very impressed with his speech.
I was indeed. I listened to it with my sister, funnily enough, and I've never heard an MP speak with such clarity, conviction, no mistakes, flawless, and I would go as far to say that's a young Winston Churchill in the making.
Interesting. He's a very good communicator, and that is quite an asset for any party, isn't it?
It is, and with his situation, I think he came out very well. I think Kerry Badenoch, I take a slightly different view. If I was Badenoch, I would have pulled him to one side, said to him, right, I know you're going to leave, I know you want to do us damage, so you either go peacefully and I'll give you the chance to resign, because then Badenoch would at least have not looked like she had, because she flies the flag, don't get me wrong, she flies the flag of doing justice and things right, but what she's forgetting is, whatever she did, he's going to clobber her because he was telling the truth.
Yeah,
and the fact is, she was complicit to all the things he was saying, and he said in his speech, he warned her in the cabinet beforehand, and because they wouldn't listen, that's what made him then eventually go. And previously, he'd come out of the Conservative Party, and they took him back in because he wasn't happy. So to me, he's clean.
Had he come out of the Tory party before? No,
yeah, so there was a little while ago, but that actually kicking him out of the Tory party was what everybody has actually kind of praised Kemi for. There's some interesting polling that's come out that 57% of people seem to think Robert Jenrick moved for career reasons, and that 54% of people yeah, I know, yes, but also 54% of people said it doesn't make an ounce of difference whether he was in reform or out of reform, well, how they vote. So this idea that he's some kind of he's going to bring over all these people, it doesn't seem to be happening, and I do think it's because of the
give it a chance. It's only yesterday.
No, but what I'm saying is that because of the mess of how this announcement went down, I think that has played a huge factor in the impact that this has had.
I think. Do you know what I think? I respect your view, Pete. Tell me what you think, Kev. I think that all that stuff about he was a minute late for the press conference and Kemi got the thing. This is Westminster tittle tattle. Oh, it wasn't handled very well. It didn't. It looked a bit shambolic. It's just pundits from Westminster picking up on something that I don't think the public give a damn about. Do you, Kevin?
No, that they don't. People see through it. All the people I've spoken to, they've said he stood by his his honour, what he believes in, and he said, I could have stayed there. I could have gone for being the next, the next minister or leader of the party, which he could have done. He's done what I've complained about for a long time, is when a minister gets elected, he forgets his people, he goes for the position, and that's all he's interested in, and that's what they hang on to because they get a lovely pension.
Don't completely extract the careerist element, but I broadly agree with you, Kevin. Kevin, got a great call, got to move on. Thank you very much. Let's talk to Greg in London, who's got a Craig Dunlop theory. What's your theory, Greg?
Well, I'm not Craig, I'm Greg.
There you go. Names and me, It's a really good trait as a broadcaster. You can't get anybody's name right. So what is your theory about Craig Dunlop?
Well, my theory is, and I think it's probably a fact, that your problem is that
How long you got?
you get the man's name wrong and call him Dunlop because he's retired.
All right. There's one problem with this, Greg. I've been doing it all week and he only retired today. Perhaps I could see it in the future. Good theory, Greg. Thanks so much for ringing. Have a good weekend. Let's quickly go to Stephen in Manchester. Hello, Stephen. What would you like to say?
All right, mate. Are you all right?
I'm good.
Gutted that Benedict's not on, so I've got my little Benedict Spence ditty if I can... bring it to you.
All right, quickly. Yeah, go on.
Benedict the Spence my name. Please don't call me Jack, I'm Jane. I will always be the same because Benedict the Spence mine.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll tell you what. Is it carrying on? Is it still going on?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, look, I bet you Benedict Spence has never had a song written about him before, so we'll get him on again, and you call in and we'll do that. But you want to make a quick point about Jenrick?
To you, mate. Honestly, you're pretty cool for a Fulham man. Anyway, so
a Fulham man. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, mate.
Listen, Steve, I've got to move on, but thank you very much. Excellent call. We've got a voice note from Corrine. Take it away, Corrine.
Good evening, Kev. Good evening, Pete. Great show tonight. Really been laughing. A couple of things. Georgina, Tallywacker.
Tallywacker. What was that about?
Because it was a famous word in there.
I've never known that before.
And also, Craig Dunlop. He's actually a journalist in Australia. He works for News Corps. Hope this helps you. Bye.
Thanks, Corinne. I just had a great idea. I did look it up, and I did see he was a journalist that works for this company.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get him on the show next week. Right, Chuck, we're going to get Craig Dunlop. He works for News Corps in Australia. He's got to be a guest next week, hasn't he? So, by the way, just for 5 minutes, it's What Just Happened, my TV show. So enjoy that. That goes on until 10 o'clock, and then it's Ash Gould and Andre Walker taking you through into the small hours to 1 a.m. So much still to come. Let's squeeze in, I think, what will probably be a very quick last call. David in Salford. Hello, Dave. What would you like to say?
A very quick call for me. It's the Cotswolds, really.
Ex-Salfordian, though.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Ex-Salfordian and not Craig Dunlop. The other guy
Come on. Craig Guilford, what would you like to say?
But the other guy should be fired as well.
Agreed.
Oppo.
Yeah, Simon Foster. Totally.
Because he sits there and says, "Oh, we spoke to the local community and this and the other," and it just lies. It's just absolute lies, mate. I know he's short on time, but
the whole saga surrounding Craig Guilford and his acolytes and that police and crime commissioner is a tissue of lies. The public have been deceived, MPs have been deceived, the authorities, Birmingham Council have been deceived. It's an absolute disgrace, Dave, and give me a call next week. Let's have a proper chat, because I've got to go now because we've got to go to the news. But good to talk to you, and thank you for a great call. Right, Pete, well, let's summarise, shall we? Your thoughts on Craig Dunlop?
Oh, yes. It seems like a death. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe I'm going to now wonder who this guy is as well. But just really quick, just going back to Jenrick, there's just some polling has just come out. Only 1 in 3 Reform members are supporting any more defections from the Tories.
Yeah, there is this danger.
Yeah.
There is, and we know that Nigel Farage is very, very aware of it, that the Reform UK, if they're not careful, they're going to look like a retirement home for disaffected Tories. And when I say disaffected Tories who think they're going to lose their seat or already have lost their seat, that is a problem that he has to deal with, and he's aware of that. And but next week they're saying